Africa, and welcome to another exciting episode of Moments Girls Talk Nigeria. We're coming to you from our studio here in Lagos. Now today we're going to be talking about your next big move. There's some times in life when you get stuck, and the question is, how do you determine the next move to make? This is a constant struggle, the fear of getting stuck, and even if we do, the grace to find the zeal to jump right back. Today on Moments, our topic for the day is knowing your next big move. Hello, Tallulah.
Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm good. Your top is giving me Tina Turner vibes.
Okay, is that a good thing?
90s. I mean, it's a good thing. Okay, Tina Turner is amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I was going for that look.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that it's working.
Very fashion.
And you're looking very like those ice skaters who like compete and they wear these elaborate costumes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
If you want to see my full outfit, go on my Instagram. It's now just Bolale.
Thanks for clarifying. So Sally Toka isn't here today, but we do miss her and she'll be back.
She'll be back soon. Yeah, this is a really good conversation. And I think, as millennials, we're living in a day and age where we're always thinking about the next big move.
Definitely.
And there's a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves to where, you hear that these days people rarely stay in a job for more than 5 years. Back in the day before, you'd stay in a job for 10, 15 years, you'd be comfortable, you'd be satisfied. But now it's like, I have a cousin, and I always tell my cousin, I'm like, you are blessed. My cousin has, since he graduated, I want to say 7 years ago, he has probably had about 5 jobs.
Oh, wow.
And these are not quash jobs, though.
Oh, wow.
He's worked in like proper consulting firms like KPMG, Deloitte, and he literally is just like, I'll call him, like maybe I'm speaking to him in 6 months, and I'll be like, how are you? I'm good. He's like, oh,
he's moved jobs again.
I spoke to him yesterday, and he told me that not only has he quit his job that he got like 7 months ago, he's now going to business school. And I'm just like, guy.
But why is he moving? Is it because he gets more pay? Every time he moves jobs, his salary increases? Is that what it is? Because I think with a lot of people who do that, it is for the salary increase.
Definitely. His salary increases, but it's also because he's restless. And fortunately for him, he's really good at what he does, so he's constantly has the opportunity to get a better paying job. But, that pressure and knowing also when to move. Because sometimes you might get an offer, but how do you know when to move?
I agree, and I also think there is a danger in being stagnant. We could talk about this forever, and we will very shortly. It's now time for a short break, after which we'll be joined by our guests. Welcome back to Moments Girls Talk. Our topic today is your next move. But first, joining us is our guest. His full name is Praiz Adejo. He is an R&B singer, songwriter, and music producer who came into the limelight as the second runner-up in the maiden season of Project Fame West Africa.
My days are yours if you walk away. I will cry 'cause I'm not ashamed. If you say goodbye, girl, I'm gonna break.
Praiz, lovely to see you as always. You always smell so nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Feels good to be here.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm alright.
It's nice to see you.
I mean, blessed.
It's been a long time. Have you been on Moments before, right?
Yeah, it's been a while though.
It's been a while.
Okay, fantastic.
It feels good to be back here,
Oh, fantastic. So we see you everywhere. I think you are one of the most famous R&B singers that we have in Nigeria. So how's the music career going?
It's been good. Music career has been amazing. Just working on my sophomore album. It's music for the next level, and I'm actually at a phase in my career where I'm about to make that next move, and it's very important for every musician, or in general, to have that next move. So yeah, I'm quite excited.
And one thing I've always wondered about you, Praiz, you came out of like a music reality kind of show, but you've managed to transcend that and build such a strong brand by yourself. So you've made that next move essentially. How have you been able to do that and triumph where a lot of other artists have actually failed?
For me, I went into the show to win, and not winning was actually a motivation for me. Everyone should have a motivation in life, basically. And I mean, I just wanted to prove people wrong. I knew what I was good at. I knew my capabilities. I knew what I could do, basically. And it kept me going. And I just decided to just do what I knew how to do best. Be persistent, and I mean, above all, I needed to be patient. It's very important to be patient as a musician.
You know what's interesting is that people describe me as an R&B artist, and I know how hard it was specifically, you know, when you first started to do music like you do, where you're sticking to the R&B. You definitely have the dance tunes, but you're sticking to the R&B, and it paid off for you. Why do you think that is?
You know, people out there actually watching, they want to know if this guy knows what he's really doing or he's a confused artist, you know. I mean, at times I get people say, Praiz sold out with a certain single. I remember when I dropped O'Shea, featuring Willow Logomba. For me, it was, I did that song strategically because I was trying to extend my market to the Francophone countries. And also I had a project that period where I needed to raise funds for a child who was born with a hole in the heart. So every single I put out, it's actually a strategy. Like if I decide to do a song with Sarkodie, I mean, it's me trying to penetrate the Ghanaian market or trying to feed off from his own fan base. So I mean, it's just being smart.
Well, I love that. So there's always a thought process behind every move you make. So I'm going to come onto your live performances now. I mean, I just love watching you perform. Is that something that you enjoy and that you kind of take pride in?
Yeah, trust me, I love performing. You know, I perform even when I'm at home. You know, everyone who knows me knows I'm a noisemaker. I'm always singing. But I mean, coming to performances on stage, I always look forward to performing on stage, and I love performing live. You know, I love having the band behind me because it makes you. It doesn't limit you. It just gives you that space to express yourself.
You know, let's talk a little bit about the immersion of, you know, Africa to the world and how a lot of our music is being exported. You know, something that I think is the biggest trend is the One African Music Fest, and you've been part of it a lot. You've done it twice, I believe?
Yeah, twice.
Okay, so generally, do you find that in those kind of atmosphere where there are multiple African artists, specifically Nigerian ones, is the audience usually Nigerians, or is the trend, are there non-Nigerians who are also a lot more non-Nigerians consuming our music as well?
To be honest, I won't even lie. There are a lot of non-Nigerians who actually vibe into Nigerian music. At the concert, we had like a lot of non-Nigerian. The audience was more of the non-Nigerians. You know, we had a lot of African people, and we had people who were not even Africans. You know, talking about African music to the world. I mean, it goes way back. I mean, shout out to Fela. Fela is that one person who, I mean, took the Nigerian music. Let me start from my country first before I go to Africa. I took Nigerian music to the world, you know, and I mean, it feels good to see a lot of big cats doing, like, just taking it further, you know, Wizkid, the band, to name a few. I mean, it's just great.
It's fantastic. And you mentioned Wizkid, who's blowing up at the moment, has done collaborations with Drake, and you always get compared to John Legend, you know, and I always think your voice sounds very similar to his. So is there any international artist that you think, oh, I would love to work with that person?
I'd love to work with Kendrick Lamar.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one.
He's different.
Yeah, he is.
When it comes to music, I like to do music that is different, in as much as sometimes I might want to go with the flow of the now sound, but I just like it to be different from what you usually hear. So I mean, when it comes to collaboration with artists, like if you go through the collaborations on my debut album, I mean, it had a lot of interesting collaborations. I had Pat Rankin, I had Sound Sultan, I had Wizkid, I had Bez, I had a couple of people. So I mean, it's just I followed the sound basically. Okay.
That's brilliant. Praiz. So excited for you, and I'm really excited that you're on this because show that we're talking about your next big move. Because I think as an artist, you're constantly thinking about how to redevelop yourself and how to push yourself forward. So we're going to be talking about that, and that conversation is going to begin right after this.
Welcome back to Moments Girls Talk. So our topic today is your next move. We're talking about, you know, reinventing yourself and constantly staying relevant. Our guest is Praiz. Praiz, so, you know, you're an artist, and you know what I always think? I always think of back in the day when you had people like, you know, MC Hammer and all these people who just seemed so larger than life, and you just thought they would be famous forever almost. And you look at them today and no one talks about them and they're not relevant. So as an artist, is that at the forefront of your mind, keeping yourself relevant and keeping your next move really strategic?
First of all, it's good to have that mentality that you won't do music forever as a musician. In as much as you want your music to live forever, you might not always perform forever.
Of course.
So I mean, you should always have that next move, and it's important for an artist to have a different stream of income, basically. And for that, that's where, I mean, you need to always capitalize on your next move, you know. Like, should I talk about my next move?
Yes, tell us. Give us an exclusive insight into your next move.
For me, aside music, in as much as I have my next move for music, but putting music aside, right now I'm going into farming.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's an industry where a lot of people have been sleeping on. And I mean, when you look back in the 80s, I remember as a kid, cocoa was like the main source of income for the country, Nigeria, not even petroleum, you know. So I mean, agriculture is being slept on, and it can produce a lot of income for you. And also going into real estate.
Oh wow, those are really big plans, and diversifying.
Which
obviously,
I mean, and I think that's the thing, right? So diversifying, that produces wealth. But you know, do you sometimes do you get nervous as an artist? Is it hard? Is there a constant fear though of trying to remain relevant? Like as an artist, do you think that a lot of artists plan and calculate their moves on the basis of the fact that I want to remain relevant? I think I can remain relevant for a long period of time.
Personally, I think when you think about it too much, when you think about your fears, you actually attract those things you're afraid of to yourself. Personally, I try not to think about am I still relevant? Do people think I'm relevant or not? I don't think about that. All I do is when I know it's time to drop a song, I make sure I drop a good song. And I mean, I just keep doing what I have to do. We have different artists or different musicians in Nigeria. Some are expected to drop 5 songs in 5 months. Some are expected to drop 2 songs in 5 months. You know, so you need to, first of all, you need to also know your market. You need to know the time frame for yourself.
I agree, but you know, I also think of like, you know, there's certain careers where you're told, like for example, being a footballer, you're told your shelf life maybe is like 5 years, 7 years, you know, and that's if you don't get injured within that time. So you need to constantly be thinking of other things that you can do. So just, you know, as an artist, coming back to you, Praiz, what advice would you give to somebody who's in that kind of a field where they think, you know, my shelf life in this profession may not be so long, and how can I constantly stay, you know, at the front of the pack and at the top of my game, and also know how to, you know, diversify out of it?
Like I said, it's important to have other income streams. Once you, as a musician, you make money, but you need to invest that cash you make into other streams that could still support your music. And also as a musician, you need to, it will get to a point where you need to be the businessman, basically. I think one person who has been able to do that is Banky W. You know, he has come from being an artist to being an entrepreneur, you know. He has been that, he doesn't just do the music, he does the music business. So it's also important for you to get into that phase also.
I understand what you're saying. It's interesting because I remember, and I think probably, I remember after I finished NYC and I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? What's gonna be my next big move? And I remember feeling like I could do a 9 to 5. I could, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, and I did for like maybe 2 days. I did. I actually
all of 2 days, but
I worked at it because I had done NYC at an NGO, and then I got a job at another NGO, and it was an NGO that I, you know, really, really admired, and I wanted to be part of what they were doing because I have a dual degree in communications and international studies. And I remember thinking to myself, if I stay here, I'm going to be content. I'll have a paycheck. But I remember that I had to choose between staying there and auditioning for Mo Search.
Okay.
And I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to leave this place, go for more search, and I'm not sure if this job is going to be waiting for me here. And it was one of those things where, you know, those are the kind of big moves that I think that scare us, where there's no
safety net,
there's no safety net. You're done, you know. If I didn't get more search, I was going to come back and I wouldn't have a job, you know. But for me, I remember thinking to myself, but if I don't do it, I'll never know. You know, I'll never know. And that was a huge move. And I did. I went for more search, and by God's grace, like, I was chosen. But it was one of those things where I was like, OMG, like, I could come back without a job. And I was even, you know, it's not easy finding a job in Nigeria. Like, I was really lucky. Like, 3-4 months after NYC, I got a job. And that sounds like a long time, but we all know people who, after NYC, a year, 2 years, you're still stuck. Do you know? So I guess my question is, how do you know when you're like, it looks like it's not a smart idea, but you're gonna take the risk? And I know we can all share about that. Coming up shortly, we'll be talking on that. Welcome back to Moments Girls Talk. Today on the show, we're talking about your next big move. And I was talking about, you know, before the break, how do you know when you should take that big step? That technically to the whole world, everyone might say, man, this person's crazy, you're crazy, like, what are you doing, what are you thinking?
I mean, I want to actually chime in here and say, I think it just, you know, it's all to do with how you feel inside. And also, you know, when you're tired of a situation, even if it's, you know, you may be in a good job, and from the outside looking in, I've spoken about this before, it may look like, oh, you're doing well. You know, I worked somewhere in the UK that was a very highbrow news broadcaster. And a lot of people said to me, you can't leave this job. Just, you know, telling people you work here already. They are looking at you like you're one, you know what I mean, very important person. But I was like, I'm not happy here, and I don't feel like I'm advancing at the rate at which I should be. So at that point, I left and I moved to Lagos. And when I moved to Lagos, you guys, I didn't have a job and I didn't really know that many people. So I moved back. I was at home for about a month or two, you know, just chilling in the house, literally making no money, being a nuisance. But at a point, you know, I managed to run into somebody who owned a magazine and who offered me a job. So I think from that story, what I learned was that sometimes you have to take that leap of faith before the net will appear. So even when you want to make the next move, you may not know how to make the move or what the move is, but as long as you are just generally going in the right direction and kind of hoping something will happen, oftentimes things do tend to crop up.
Personally, I also think your association matters, because if you don't surround yourself with people who think in a certain way, you might not even get a direction of yourself. I mean, when you associate yourself with people who have no future plans, you might just be content with where you are, you know, and sometimes you don't even realize that you're not growing. You know, so I mean, also it's important to associate yourself with people who have foresight, people who are thinking about the next move. You know, it would also spur or just ignite that thought.
That's interesting. And do you guys think that it's important when you have figured out your next move, do you think it's okay to talk to people about it and share with them to get their opinion, or do you think that you're supposed to keep it to yourself in case someone truncates your destiny? Because that, you know, I mean,
it's tricky. But I mean, I feel everyone has that one person that you talk to, basically. I mean, you discuss everything about. Everyone has that one person. And if you want to talk to someone in a business light, you could talk to the person, but don't be too detailed. Because I mean, we have some people who would help you execute.
No, you know what's interesting is, so I'm the kind of person who, in general, I'm an internal processor. So whatever I'm deciding, whatever I'm going through, whatever I'm trying to figure out, I process it by myself. And this is to the point where my own father says, Bolali, I have to Google you to find out what is happening in your life.
Are you serious? Oh, that's deep.
He actually does. He'll be like, oh, I saw you got this campaign. And I'm like, yeah, sorry. You know, so it's a natural thing. It doesn't have to do with, and I'm very close to my family. So it's a personality thing, and I've had to learn how to be more open. And because a lot of my friends say I'm secretive, and I'm like, I'm not secretive, I just process internally. In my head, unless I like to have a solution to the problem before I talk about it.
Okay.
Which I've learned that, honestly, that doesn't make sense because sometimes talking about it will help you find a solution to the problem.
But be careful who you take advice from. You know how they say that thing, that you might take from the wrong person and end up in a worse situation. So
no, and I completely agree with you. But, you know, I think also a lot of times in Nigeria, we're always very secretive because we're afraid that someone will carry your destiny, steal your star, or they might take your idea. But I personally think that your idea is your idea. You're the only person that can execute it well. Yes, someone can execute it. And a perfect example is we've seen cases of, you know, certain companies copy and paste another company's idea of creating X, Y, and Z platform or this. And you look at the platform and you're like, what are you guys doing? Because you copied and pasted it.
And you can tell.
You can
it's obvious.
tell. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's just about discernment. You have to know who you should talk to. But I think sometimes we're a bit too secretive. I think sometimes we're a bit too secretive. Not everyone is out to steal your destiny.
A lot of people are there, Bolanle. A lot of people are.
You sound like you go to MFN. Every destiny stealer.
I want to start going. I want to start going. It's important. It's important. No, I don't think people are out to steal your destiny necessarily. Some people are, you know, some people aren't. But I do think that, you know, a bit like you, Bolanle, I don't know if I'm an internal processor, but I don't like people to influence me. I feel like I can be very easily influenced, you know, and especially, you know, just have some friends that are just dramatic. No, that person, don't talk to that person, or this idea, it won't work. Nigerians don't buy XYZ. They don't like to do so and so. And, you know, just talking to that person, you would have executed on your amazing idea, but because they've talked you out of it, now you've lost money, you know, and you've lost a potential income stream. So for me, that's one reason why I don't necessarily always share, because I want to be able to kind of like follow my vision and really stay true to myself.
I hear you. Praiz, before we let you go, we have a tradition here on the show where we ask you to share something no one knows about you. So a secret. Secret.
I don't think I have any secret anymore because everything is on Google now.
No, there must be something. Come on.
Habits, traits, personality.
Don't worry, we won't tell anybody. Just between us.
Let me see. What about Praiz that no one knows? We have 7 days in a week.
Okay.
Out of 7 days, say 5 days, I always sleep by 5 a.m. actually.
You go to bed by 5 a.m.?
Yeah, I go to bed by 5 a.m. I'm always working.
You musicians are so interesting.
I'm always working, so, I mean, that's also the bid in trying to stay relevant. You need to keep working, you know. So, I mean,
why don't you guys work in the daytime like everybody else?
Maybe it's the creative juices and night brings out the creative. Is that what it is?
Distractions during the day.
Like, if you're in your studio, you close the studio door and you do what you have to do.
I don't know. It's just something about creatives. We like working at night.
So when do you sleep?
Creatives that will do 9 to 5.
Yeah. So when do you sleep? So you go to bed at 5 a.m. and then when do you how long do you sleep for?
Okay, like today, I had to wake up early to start heading out. So I woke up. I slept way earlier yesterday. I slept by 4. Oh wow,
way earlier, Praiz.
Yeah. I woke up by 9. Yeah, I woke up at 9.
Wow, you guys are running on very little sleep.
Yeah, I mean, so sometimes we decide to take vacation, which is necessary.
Yeah. That's a good one. Thank you so much, Praiz, for coming on the show.
Praiz. So nice to see you.
You're such a darling. We should have had you sing for us.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Praiz, sing me something, say something.
Please sing for this woman, Praiz, or she will not allow us to rest.
What do you want me to say?
Bolanle is a fine girl. I'm just joking, whatever you want to say.
Nothing can change the way that I'm feeling. I die for you. Nothing can change the way that I'm feeling. I'm lost in you.
Look at how happy this woman is. Look at that
Such
smile.
a beautiful voice. You know, come on. Thank you so much, Praiz.
Thank you so much. Well, it's time for a quick break, but we'll be back with In a Nutshell.
Welcome back to Moments Girls Talk Nigeria. Now, in a nutshell, I have learned that you should follow your guts because it will lead you to glory. And pretty much it's just follow your instincts. Like the more you listen to your instincts and you make decisions based on them, you'll find that you learn the practice of knowing when it's your instinct telling you what to do. You know, and for people, it's instincts. For people, it's, you know, your intuition. For people, it's the Holy Spirit. Like, for me, I think it's a combination of everything. You're conscious. Like, I just feel like I know when God is telling me or talking to me about doing something. And I've learned that the more I listen to the Spirit of God, the more I know the next move, you know, and it's practice. So yeah, follow your guts. Like, you will make the right decisions if you do.
I love that. Follow your guts, they'll lead to glory. It's like the slogan from a Rambo or something.
Nobody should steal it. It's mine.
I love it. As for me, I believe in things manifesting, and I believe that you may not always know exactly what your next move is, but as long as you know your ultimate destination, you know, you trust in God, like you said, you pray, and you really believe in yourself, you know, you work on yourself so you have the necessary skills to achieve what you need to achieve. And even if you don't think or doing this right now is going to be of any value, but as long as you're investing in yourself, you never know where those things will pay off. So I think just keep believing, keep working, keep dreaming, and ultimately great things will come to pass.
Definitely. Yes. And on that note, thank you so much for joining us on another exciting episode of Moments Girls Talk Nigeria. Always remember,
if you can think it, you can do it.